Hello everyone, taking a quick break here from the recruiting work for Alvernia University Women's Hockey to chat with you a little bit about the subject of grit. I'm recently back from a weekend of watching the USA Triathlon Youth Draft Legal Elite National Championships in Cincinnati, Ohio. And what a great weekend of racing it was. And I've learned that much like all sports, triathlon is incredibly unpredictable, especially when you add the element of cycling. Crashes are possible, just like the Tour de France. And luckily there weren't any major injuries, but there was a whole bunch of crashes this weekend in the racing in Ohio. Just lots of kids really racing hard and getting after it. And much like life, we can't always choose the circumstances that we're handed, but we can choose how we respond to those challenging circumstances. And two stories really stand out in particular. They're actually both from the same race, the Youth Girls Elite Championship. There was a bike pileup on the course, and that happens sometimes. This one particular girl ended up in a pileup, huge bruise on her hip with road rash to go with it, had to get herself up, get herself back on the bike, get herself going again, certainly cleared well enough to race, but certainly was a struggle for her to finish. And as a really, really good rider, because of the delay, it meant she wasn't going to finish really in a place where she was on her way to finishing and what she was capable of. This other rider got bumped in the transition area by another rider, and it knocked her chain off, bent her chain to the point where luckily the mechanic's tent was nearby. They brought her bike over. The mechanic worked feverishly to get her chain back on. They actually had to add a new link, and it caused an 8-minute delay. So those riders are faced with a choice. When you're that far back, do you take the DNF and walk away for the day, or do you finish what you started? And I'm so proud to have watched both of these girls grind away and finish what they started. They've had great seasons, they've had great placements during the year, and they knew full well when they were finishing the ride and out on the run that they weren't going to finish in a place that they would have otherwise, but they chose to finish what they started. And that, in so many ways, is what grit is all about. World-renowned researcher and best-selling author Angela Duckworth defines grit as passion and sustained persistence applied towards long-term achievement with no particular concern for rewards or recognition along the way. Grit combines resilience, ambition, and self-control in the pursuit of goals that take months, years, and sometimes decades. So what makes a person gritty? Duckworth thinks it comes down to 4 or so different things. These people, these gritty people, pursue activities that they are passionate about. They practice not only repetitively, but they practice deliberately. They also find meaning in their work and activities for the activity itself, above and beyond the recognition or the reward. And these gritty people believe they can grow and possess what researchers call a growth mindset. That's a topic for a whole other day. So in the world of business, how do we find these gritty people for our teams, for our staffs? Well, if you're in the hiring process and looking for gritty people for your team, there's a couple things that you can do. First, maybe take a look at their resume through a lens you're probably already looking at, but really focus in on it. Certainly, we're all familiar with resumes that have a job or two that have a really short tenure. Not every position is the right fit for somebody, and maybe a particular candidate had a transitionary period where they went through a couple different jobs. Take a look closely for serial job hoppers. Are they moving quickly, 8 months, 1 year, from one position to the next repeatedly? That may be the sign of someone who doesn't necessarily possess the grit you're looking for on your team or your staff. Once you get somebody into the interview process, there are 2 key questions you can ask that'll be helpful in determining grit. The first is ask them to tell you about a time that they had to face adversity and how did they handle it. That's really going to give you a great view as to how gritty they may be in your particular role. The other one, and I think it's a great one, is ask them what 3 accomplishments they're most proud of. That's going to tell you a lot about their values and the types of things that they may have accomplished that takes effort over a long period of time. So those are some things that you can do. One of the great quotes of all time, and I'm going to paraphrase it here, it's from the all-time great basketball player Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan has said that he has missed over 9,000 shots in his career, lost over 300 games, He has been entrusted to take the winning shot and has missed that shot on 26 occasions, and is very upfront about saying, it is because I have failed over and over again in my life, that is why I succeed. Very powerful quote, so stay gritty, my friends, and enjoy the rest of your day.